Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Today we're talking about a new film that just came out called The Last Stop in Yuma County. Stranded at an Arizona rest stop, a traveling night salesman gets thrust into a high-stakes hostage situation by the arrival of two bank robbers who will stop at nothing to protect their fortune. So this Western thriller marks the featured directorial debut of newcomer Francis Galluppi, and he actually, if you guys haven't heard, he just recently got tapped to direct one of the two recently announced Evil Dead films that are coming out. And after seeing this, I am so excited to see what he's going to be able to do with the Evil Dead world. So like I previously mentioned, the film takes place at this gas station and diner in Yuma County. You have this nice salesman played by Jim Cummings who he stops to get some gas. He ends up finding out that they're all out, and then the next closest one is about 100 miles away, but a truck is on the way. So he goes to this diner where Jocelin Donahue's character, Charlotte, works, and starts talking to her and gets some coffee while they're waiting for this truck to show up. And then we had these two other guys show up who we end up finding out that they just recently robbed a bank, and one of those guys is played by Richard Brake. Always plays a great bad guy. He's one of them who shows up, and they need gas as well, and so they end up going into the diner. And so quickly after that, you have Jim and Jocelyn's characters. They recognize who these guys are, but Richard Brake, he realizes that soon after, and so he goes over to him and he basically says, hey, you guys are going to pretend that, nothing is going on. You're just going to go about your day as normal. Otherwise, if you don't, I'm going to shoot and kill both of you. And so that's pretty much how the rest of the film kind of plays out. You have these other people that start showing up to the diner because same thing. This is the only gas station that's around for miles, and so people are low on gas. They want to, load up, but they can't, so they have to go to this diner. Meanwhile, they don't know that there is a hostage situation going on, and so yeah, it gets pretty crazy. I won't say anything more other than that. What happens when some of these people come in, because there's some twists and turns. Shit gets crazy, and I definitely want you guys just to go in as fresh as possible, because that's how I kind of experience. So that's all I'll say as far as the plot goes. Like I said, this film, it has several twists and turns that I was not expecting at all, and so the movie definitely kept me on my toes throughout the runtime. And Francis, man, he does a great job of establishing the tension very early on in the film, and he just ratchets it up as the rest of the runtime, carries on. The way that this film is shot is gorgeous. The cinematography here is just amazing. There's some really interesting shots throughout the film, and I thought that Francis does a really good job of taking advantage of the locations and making the most of what he has, because this film, for the most part, really only kind of takes place in a couple locations. It's not this movie where it's, spread out over several different places. It's just, for the most part, it's this gas station and this diner. And so he definitely makes use of that for sure. And I also thought that they did a really good job with the sound design overall as well. And then you have an incredible cast here, highlighted by Jocelin Donahue, Jim Cummings, and Richard Brake as some of the lead roles. But honestly, from top to bottom, I thought everyone here was really good. You have other actors that show up like Alex Essoe, Barbra Crampton, Faison Love, Sierra McCormick, who also show up, and they all had their moments to shine. Jocelin Donahue especially, I've been a big fan of hers for years, ever since, I think the first film that I saw her in, which was like her first lead role, was The House of the Devil. Then you have Dr. Sleep, Insidious. I've loved her work for years, and I just recently got to interview her. If the video is not already up when I post this review, it will be up shortly. It was an honor to get to talk to her. I honestly feel like that she's kind of underrated as far as an actress goes. I loved her character here too. She just doesn't sit around hoping something will happen. She tries several different ways to get herself out of the situation, and just the way that she has to act like everything is normal in this hostage situation, her portrayal of that I thought was great. And then Richard Brake, once again, he kills it in the villain role, and the chemistry that he has with his partner is really good as well. And Jim Cummings, what can you say? It's Jim Cummings. He was really good in the role. Like I said, just from top to bottom, they had a phenomenal cast here. And yeah, this was a movie that, I was excited to see it because I saw Jocelyn. I think I first saw the trailer on her social media page, and so I was like, cool, a new project that I'm going to check out with her in it. And it just really surprised me, and now it even excites me more because he's going to be doing one of the new Evil Dead films, so I can't wait to see how that turns out. But I love discovering new talent like this, seeing one of their their first major movies that they do, and then you could kind of go back later on after you've seen a number of different films and be like, oh yeah, I remember when Last Stop in Yuma County came out. So if you guys haven't heard of the film, I highly suggest you guys check it out. It definitely gave me like a Tarantino-esque vibe to it. So I think that Francis, he's got some big things coming his way. He's already does with the Evil Dead franchise, and I can't wait to see what's next for him. So yeah, man, I really enjoyed this. Overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I highly suggest you guys checking it out. It's gonna get I think a limited theatrical release May 10th, but I think it's also gonna be like video on demand. So make sure you guys check it out any way that you can. If you have seen the film, or after, once it comes out, if you've watched it, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. And if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up. And as always, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.